Have you ever wondered what really happens when you close your eyes at night and slip into sleep? Your body, still and at rest, seems to power down, but your mind, it becomes alive in ways most people never truly realize. Consciousness doesn't sleep. It wanders, explores, stretches its limbs beyond the confines of the body. And yet, few understand where it goes or what it truly does during those silent hours. Ancient cultures and modern science alike have tried to unravel this mystery, but the real answers remain tucked between dimensions beyond the reach of ordinary thought. Tonight, I'm inviting you to look at sleep from an entirely different angle, an angle that might just flip your whole view of reality. Because if you've ever woken up from a dream that felt so vivid, so real, so tangibly alive, you might have already touched something far beyond the world of neurons and synapses. For thousands of years, humans have questioned what dreams truly are. Across continents and civilizations, the belief persisted that the soul leaves the body while we sleep. In ancient Egypt, dreams were sacred, divine whispers from the gods. The Greeks believed sleep was a doorway to higher planes. Plato, in particular, speculated that sleep allowed the soul to visit realms unreachable in waking life. These weren't just stories. These were glimpses into something timeless. Modern science, of course, tells us sleep is essential for memory consolidation, emotional regulation, and physical restoration. That's true. But there's something deeper happening during those quiet hours, especially during REM sleep. That's the phase where your brain lights up like a city at night. It's when your sense of time dissolves, when space feels elastic, and reality itself begins to morph into something beautifully strange. But here's the million-dollar question. If consciousness were merely a product of the brain, just the outcome of neurons firing, why do we consistently experience things in dreams that challenge the very fabric of logic? Why do people have dreams that seem to predict the future, or out-of-body experiences that allow them to see far-off places in startling detail? Are these just random firings of a sleepy brain, or are we tapping into something real? There's a journey we all take every single night, whether we know it or not. A journey of consciousness. And this journey begins with detachment. As you drift into deeper stages of sleep, the noise of the physical world starts to fade. Your brainwaves slow down, and with that, your grip on waking reality loosens. But unlike your body, your consciousness doesn't fall asleep. It slips into a different mode of operation, one that is still barely understood. Most people pass through this transition unaware, but in the REM phase, rapid eye movement, that's when things truly get interesting. It's not just about vivid dreams. Some researchers, such as those at the Monroe Institute, believe that in this state, consciousness begins to unhook from the body. They call it astral projection or an out-of-body experience. And there are mountains of anecdotal evidence to support it. Why don't we all notice this? Well, part of the reason is the way we've been trained to view the world. From the moment we're born, we're told to only trust what we can see, touch, measure, and replicate. But consciousness doesn't play by those rules. Those who have experienced being outside their bodies, watching their sleeping forms from above, floating through walls, or visiting distant places, report a level of clarity and awareness far sharper than normal dreams. Take Robert Monroe, for instance, a researcher who, after experiencing spontaneous out-of-body states, devoted his life to studying and documenting them. His work laid the foundation for what we know about non-physical realms today. He described landscapes that defy physics, beings that seem to exist outside of time, and experiences so profound they permanently changed his understanding of existence. One of the most fascinating aspects of these experiences is how closely they seem tied to your emotional and mental state before you fall asleep. Think about it. Have you ever gone to bed angry or anxious, only to have a chaotic or unsettling dream? And on nights when you feel peaceful or hopeful, your dreams seem gentler, more coherent, even illuminating. That's not a coincidence. It turns out that our inner state acts as a kind of tuning fork. The vibration you carry before sleep determines the frequency of what you connect with. Lower emotions, fear, guilt, stress, might steer your consciousness toward heavier, more distorted layers of the dream space. But go to sleep with intention, love, and clarity. You may find yourself entering dreamscapes filled with meaning, insight, even spiritual guidance. And here's where it gets even more incredible. You can guide your experience. It's not random. Just as an artist paints on a blank canvas, your consciousness can shape its journey. But it begins with something incredibly simple: intention. Before closing your eyes, say to yourself something like, "Tonight, I will remember what I experience. I will stay conscious during my dreams. I open myself to insight." This small act alone can open doors. You've probably heard of affirmations before, but few realize how powerful they become in the minutes just before sleep. In this phase, known as the hypnagogic state, your brain is moving from wakefulness to the first stages of sleep. It's a liminal space, a psychological twilight, where the mind becomes hyper-receptive. Ideas sink in deeply, emotions amplify, and intentions take root. Many great minds use this window deliberately. Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla both harnessed sleep to access insights they couldn't reach during waking hours. They would fall asleep while holding a question in mind, and wake with answers, innovations, and solutions. That wasn't luck. That was technique. You can do the same. Just before sleep, speak to your mind with purpose. Ask it to show you how to heal. Ask it for creative solutions. Ask to wake up feeling rejuvenated. Ask to visit the deeper layers of your own consciousness. The subconscious never truly sleeps. It works tirelessly, organizing thoughts, emotions, and even exploring dimensions beyond our awareness. Your requests become its mission. And if you make this a nightly ritual, if you repeat your intention like a mantra with sincerity and clarity, you might start noticing something. Dreams that begin to form narratives. Images that feel less like fantasy and more like discovery. Teachings that seem to come from somewhere else. Many who practice astral projection or lucid dreaming use affirmations like, "Tonight I will remain aware as I fall asleep," or, "I want to remember everything I see in the dream world." At first, the results may be subtle, a brief moment of awareness, a strange clarity, a shift in perspective. But with time, repetition, and consistency, those moments become gateways. So where does consciousness actually go when the body sleeps? The answer is as complex as it is beautiful. Some believe we travel to alternate dimensions. Others say we're visiting different layers of our own psyche. Still others insist we connect with something greater, a universal field of intelligence, an infinite web of awareness that spans beyond the individual. What's remarkable is how many people from entirely different cultures and backgrounds report strikingly similar experiences: floating, sensations, visions of radiant cities, encounters with beings of light, and visits to places unlike anything on earth. These accounts come not only from spiritual seekers and mystics, but from those who've had near-death experiences. They describe entering realms where time doesn't move in a straight line, where thoughts instantly shape reality, and where love isn't just an emotion, it's a force of nature. You might wonder, how do we know this isn't just fantasy? But the stories are too consistent, too rich, too specific. People wake up describing places they've never seen, but later find in real life. Some speak languages they don't consciously know. Others return with knowledge they never studied. There are even reports of two people dreaming the same dream on the same night, sharing an experience beyond time and space. And then there's quantum physics, a field that has begun to confirm what mystics have whispered for centuries. That reality isn't as solid as we think. That time isn't linear. That particles respond to observation. That consciousness may not originate in the brain at all. Neurosurgeon Dr. Ibn Alexander, after undergoing a powerful near-death experience, came back convinced that the realm he visited was more real, more vivid than waking life, and he wasn't the only one. All of this invites a profound question. When you dream, are you simply replaying memories? Or are you stepping into a version of reality that exists beyond your physical senses? Could it be that our nightly journeys are more than just stories played out in the dark? That they're actual travels into the deeper layers of what it means to be alive? We'll explore this even deeper in the next part of the journey, where we'll dive into lucid dreaming, dream programming, spiritual guides, and what it means to become conscious within the dream itself. But for now, remember this: your dreams are not meaningless. They are not random. They are a language, one you were born understanding, but forgot how to hear. You are not unconscious at night. You are simply elsewhere. Let's take a step deeper. What happens when you realize you're dreaming while you're still in the dream? What if you could walk through your dream world fully aware, with the ability to direct where you go, what you experience, and even who you meet? That's not fantasy. That's the realm of lucid dreaming. One of the most powerful keys to unlocking the mysteries of consciousness during sleep. Lucid dreams are not just more vivid or intense. They are a shift in awareness. In a lucid state, you know you're dreaming. The usual fog that separates you from your dream falls away, and suddenly you can think, choose, and even alter the environment around you. Imagine flying at will, walking through walls, asking questions to unknown guides, or exploring hidden realms that stretch beyond anything your waking mind could invent. It starts with awareness. Most people drift into dreams passively, unaware that they've crossed the border between waking and dreaming. But a small shift, an intention before sleep, a journal beside the bed, or simply asking, "Am I dreaming?" during the day, can awaken your mind to the dream world. And once you're conscious inside a dream, the possibilities are staggering. This isn't just about entertainment. Lucid dreaming can become a laboratory of the soul, a place for healing, transformation, and self-discovery. People have overcome fears by facing them in dreams. Artists have found inspiration. Scientists have received breakthroughs. And spiritual seekers, they've reported encounters with what they describe as guides, mentors, or higher aspects of themselves. Beings who seem to exist independent of the dreamer's imagination. So, what exactly are these encounters? Are they parts of our subconscious, cleverly disguised? Or are we truly meeting other intelligences, consciousnesses beyond our own? Let's go further. Throughout history, dreamers across cultures have described startlingly similar experiences. Meeting figures of light, entering glowing cities, hearing music that defies earthly description. Indigenous shamans, Buddhist monks, Hindu mystics, they all describe dreams as a kind of spiritual travel. The Tibetans even developed a precise spiritual discipline around dreaming, known as dream yoga, which trains practitioners to remain conscious in dream states to prepare the soul for the journey after death. And then there are the shared dreams. Two people, often close friends, siblings, or romantic partners, who report having the same dream on the same night, sometimes with identical details and overlapping events. What are we to make of that? If consciousness during sleep can drift beyond the body, if it can enter a dimension not limited by time and space, then maybe it's not so far-fetched that it can meet other consciousnesses along the way. Quantum physics offers a clue. Beneath the surface of what we call reality lies a unified field, a fabric that connects everything. This field doesn't operate like the visible world. It's not linear. It doesn't care about distance. It allows particles to communicate instantly across vast space through a phenomenon known as quantum entanglement. And some physicists suggest that consciousness may be fundamental to this process, that it may not arise from the brain, but exist independently of it. That changes everything. In such a universe, our minds aren't closed circuits. They're transmitters, receivers, tuned to certain frequencies depending on our thoughts, emotions, and intentions. And during sleep, when the noise of waking life falls silent, our minds may open up to these deeper currents, like a radio picking up a station, just outside the usual range. This could explain shared dreams. It could explain precognitive visions, those eerie dreams that reveal events before they happen. And it might also explain why certain dreams feel so different, so alive, so charged with meaning that they linger long after waking. Carl Jung called this the collective unconscious, a reservoir of universal symbols, archetypes, and experiences shared by all human beings. In dreams, we don't just visit personal memories. We tap into a library far older and more expansive than ourselves. That's why people across continents have reported the same dream symbols. Falling, flying, being chased, standing at the edge of an ocean, climbing infinite staircases, walking through endless forests. These are not random. They are encoded messages, symbols from the deep sea of the psyche, hinting at our hidden wounds, our unrealized desires, and the sacred path that lies ahead. But even more fascinating is that we may not be limited to just our own symbols. Some dreams contain knowledge, specific, verifiable knowledge, that the dreamer never encountered before. There are people who've dreamed in languages they don't speak, seen images from ancient texts they've never studied, or woken with formulas and concepts that later turn out to be accurate. How is that possible? Some traditions say that in sleep, the soul, or consciousness, can access something like a spiritual internet, often called the Akashic Records. It's said to be a plane of pure information, a record of everything that has ever happened, is happening, or could happen. And in dreams, some people report visiting this place, surrounded by symbols, sacred texts, glowing scrolls, or even libraries of living light. Skeptical, of course, we should question boldly. But we also can't ignore the thousands upon thousands of people who describe these experiences without ever having known others who have. These aren't just dreamers. Some are scientists, pilots, teachers, children, and their stories echo with a quiet, unsettling truth. And then there's the emotional weight of these dreams. Unlike regular dreams that fade quickly, certain dreams stay etched into memory. They come with a feeling, something you can't describe, but can't forget. As if they weren't dreams at all, but visits, reunions, reminders. In one account, a woman dreamt of meeting her grandfather, who had passed away years earlier. But he looked younger, vibrant. He took her hand, told her something she had never heard before, something only he would have known. When she told her mother the next morning, her mother confirmed the detail. It was real. There was no other way she could have known. Are these dreams simply the mind's way of processing grief? Or do they represent actual encounters with the departed? Many believe it's the latter. And if you've ever had such a dream, where you felt the presence of someone long gone, heard their voice, felt their embrace, you know how hard it is to dismiss it as just a dream. But the journey doesn't stop there. Some dreamers, especially those who practice lucid dreaming or astral projection, report being taken to what they describe as spiritual classrooms or temples of light. These are not chaotic dream environments, but serene, structured places filled with symbols and teachings. Sometimes there are beings present, often called guides or mentors, who seem to share knowledge, ask questions, or give tasks to complete. And what's fascinating is that upon waking, many of these dreamers remember specific concepts, words they've never heard, principles they've never studied, only to later find them in ancient spiritual texts or esoteric traditions they weren't previously aware of. Could it be that we're being taught while we sleep? That there's a kind of spiritual curriculum available to those ready to receive it? If so, how can we open ourselves to these experiences? It begins again with intention. Before sleep, speak clearly. Say something like, "Tonight, I am open to learning. I welcome any messages meant for my growth. I want to remember everything I experience." And then, listen, trust. Allow the dream to come without clinging to expectation. And when you wake, write it down. No matter how fragmented, how strange, how incomplete it seems. Over time, a language will form. Patterns will emerge. And soon, your dreams will become more than fragments. They'll become a map. Of course, not all dreams are gentle. Some are terrifying. Some take us to dark, heavy places that shake us long after we've woken. But even those dreams hold value. Nightmares are not punishments. They are messages in a harsher dialect. They reveal what we've buried. They show us what we need to face. Fear in a dream often points to fear in the waking self. But here's the secret. If you can become aware in the nightmare, if you can turn and face the monster, it often dissolves. Because the monster is usually a part of you, something rejected, denied, misunderstood. And when you face it with awareness, you integrate it. You reclaim it. And you grow. In lucid dreams, this becomes a powerful practice. See a shadowy figure chasing you. Turn around. Ask it, "Who are you? Why are you here?" You might be surprised by the answer. Many people who do this report profound emotional breakthroughs. The figure chasing them turns into a childhood memory. A snarling beast becomes a frightened version of themselves. The dream stops being a battlefield and becomes a therapy room. This is the power of conscious dreaming. Not just escape, not just exploration, but healing. So tonight, when you lay your head down and close your eyes, remember that you're not just turning off. You're preparing to cross a threshold. You're about to step into a universe of symbols, emotions, encounters, and truths too vast for waking logic to contain. And all of it, every single piece, is a reflection of who you are and who you are becoming. In the next part of this journey, we'll dive deeper into the different levels of the astral plane, the layers of the dream world, and how to protect your energy, navigate the unknown, and transform fear into freedom. Because this isn't just about dreaming, it's about remembering. Now that you understand how consciousness doesn't simply shut off during sleep, now that you've peeked into lucid dreaming, shared experiences, and the possibility of connecting to something larger, let's descend, or rather ascend, even deeper. You see, the dream world isn't just a random swirl of thoughts and images. It's layered, structured, organized in ways that mystics, shamans, and spiritual researchers have been trying to decode for centuries. What we call dreaming is actually just the surface of a vast and subtle realm known by many names. But in spiritual traditions, especially esoteric schools, it's often called the astral plane. The astral is not a physical place, but it is very real. It is a dimension that responds directly to emotion, intention, vibration. In other words, it's shaped by what you carry into it. Your frequency, your emotional charge, your clarity of thought, acts as your passport and map. And this is why two people can sleep in the same room, yet experience entirely different astral realities. The astral plane is not flat, it has depth. Think of it as a spectrum. On one end are the lower frequencies, dense, chaotic, often unpleasant. On the other, higher frequencies, peaceful, luminous, and filled with encounters that can change your life. What you tune into depends largely on what you bring with you when you fall asleep. Spiritual researchers often describe the astral plane as having 3 broad levels, though in truth, there are many subtle layers in between. The lower astral is the heaviest. It's thick with unresolved emotions, fear, guilt, confusion, and pain. If you've ever had a dream that felt oppressive, dark, or nightmarish, this might have been where you were. But don't be afraid. This level, while intense, is not evil. It's simply the realm of unprocessed energy. Think of it like a psychic attic filled with what we've repressed or ignored. In some cases, you may be witnessing not only your own shadow, but the collective emotions of humanity echoing through this dimension. Then there's the middle astral, the most common area people drift through during sleep. This is where most of our dreams unfold. It's where symbols from the subconscious take form. Here, you might find yourself in a familiar city, talking to someone you know, navigating strange versions of reality that bend and shift like smoke. It's unpredictable, but it's also where much of the subconscious mind does its work, sorting, resolving, expressing, and beyond that is the higher astral plane. This is where the light lives, where clarity reigns. Here, many report encountering beings of wisdom, mentors, guides, ancestors, or even aspects of their higher selves. The visuals are often radiant, the architecture dreamlike yet coherent. Time slows. Messages come through not in words, but in knowing. It's here that many have reported their most spiritual experiences. Teaching dreams, visions of peace, insights into their soul's purpose. But how do we travel safely through this vast astral sea? It begins with preparation. Just as you wouldn't set out on a long journey without packing or planning, the dream world requires care and attention. And your emotional state is the suitcase you carry into it. One of the simplest yet most powerful techniques is energetic cleansing before sleep. This doesn't have to be complex. Lighting incense or sage, taking a salt bath, or simply visualizing a bright, golden light surrounding your body can help cleanse the energetic residue from the day. The goal is to calm the mind and elevate your frequency. Then there's mental reprogramming. Your last thoughts before sleep are like seeds. They settle deep into your subconscious, where they can grow and shape your experience. If your last thoughts are fearful, resentful, anxious, that's the lens through which you'll dream. But if your final moments before drifting off are filled with intention, gratitude, or a specific affirmation, you shift the lens entirely. Try this lie in bed, close your eyes, and say softly in your mind, I am protected. I am surrounded by light. I sleep in peace. I travel only to realms that are safe, healing, and aligned with my highest self. It's simple, but don't underestimate it. Words are more than sound, they are frequency. Also, be mindful of what you consume before bed. Violent television, unsettling news, heavy emotional conversations. These all plant seeds. If possible, give yourself at least 30 minutes of gentle time before sleep. Listen to calming music, read something inspiring, or meditate. Make sleep a sacred transition, not just something you fall into. Now, let's talk about a phenomenon many experience, but few understand: sleep paralysis. It's a terrifying experience for some. You wake up, but you can't move. Your body is frozen. You may feel pressure on your chest, hear strange sounds, even sense presences in the room. It's easy to panic. But here's the truth: sleep paralysis is not dangerous. It's a misalignment between the body waking up and the dream state releasing its grip. During REM sleep, your body naturally enters a state of paralysis to prevent you from physically acting out your dreams. Sometimes, you become mentally aware before this paralysis lifts. What's more intriguing is that sleep paralysis often coincides with the return from an astral experience. Your consciousness may have been out exploring, and in the transition back into your body, you catch the between. In many traditions, this state is not feared, it's revered. It's a doorway, a launch pad. Some people even use it as a jumping-off point for astral projection. The key is to stay calm. Breathe. Feel your body. You are safe. Another challenge some face in the dream world is encounters with entities. Figures that seem independent of your own mind. Sometimes they are loving, sometimes neutral. Occasionally, they are unsettling. But who or what are they? There are many theories. Some say they are fragments of your psyche, playing roles to communicate messages. Others believe they are real consciousnesses, souls, spirits, or beings from other dimensions that also inhabit the astral space. The truth may be both. The important thing to remember is this: in the astral, your energy attracts your experience. Fear attracts fear. Love attracts light. Power, peace, and protection all begin with intention. If you ever find yourself in a dream or astral state with a presence that feels off, simply remember this: you have authority. You can say, "Leave." You can call on light. You can declare, "Only beings of love and light may be here." And more often than not, the dream will shift, or the presence will vanish. This is your consciousness, your space. You are not helpless. Now, not all difficulties in the dream world come from entities. Sometimes, the challenge is simply the intensity of the experience. Have you ever woken up exhausted, as if you lived another life in your sleep? Some people describe dreams so rich, so filled with activity, that they feel drained the next day. This usually means a few things. You're doing deep emotional processing, your mind is hyperactive at night, or you've tapped into layers of reality that are more energetically demanding. To balance this, grounding is essential. When you wake up, drink water, touch the earth, step outside and breathe. Journaling helps too. By writing down what you experienced, you move it from the realm of the unseen into the physical. That act alone can help bring balance. Also, be gentle with yourself. The dream world is not just entertainment. It's spiritual work, it's exploration, it's transformation. And just like intense healing or inner growth in waking life, it can leave you feeling raw, expanded, or even disoriented. The best antidote: create a gentle morning ritual. Something grounding, something human. Sip tea, stretch, watch the sunrise, reconnect with the body, and finally, never forget the power of awareness in dreams. If you can train yourself to recognize the dream while still inside it, to say, "Wait, this isn't real, I'm dreaming," you step into an entirely different mode of experience. You become lucid, and with lucidity comes freedom. You can fly. You can ask your dream to show you your deepest truth. You can visit places you've never seen. You can face old fears, unlock new potentials, or even ask direct questions to the universe itself. Some lucid dreamers use these states to receive healing, resolve trauma, or even rehearse difficult conversations for waking life. Others explore dream worlds as vast as entire cities, filled with characters and laws of their own. And a very few, report entering states of pure light, where the ego dissolves and only awareness remains. These are not fantasy. These are not fiction. They are journeys of consciousness. And you take them every single night, even if you don't remember. So what's next? How do we turn sleep from a passive necessity into a sacred doorway? It starts tonight. Before bed, turn off the noise, clean your energy, set an intention, place a notebook by your bed. Speak clearly: "Tonight, I remember. I journey with purpose. I awaken in my dreams." And then, trust the process. The universe speaks in dreams. Your soul sings in symbols. And consciousness, it waits patiently for your permission to explore the hidden dimensions of your own existence. Because beyond the veil of sleep, a whole world is waiting. And the deeper you go, the more you'll remember what you've always known. That you are far more than just a body, far more than just a name. You are awareness, infinite, curious, awake, even when you appear asleep. As we enter the final stretch of this journey through dreams and the landscapes of consciousness, one truth stands tall above all others: sleep is not merely a biological need. It is a gateway, a portal, a bridge between what is seen and what is hidden. And once you begin to walk across that bridge with intention, your entire relationship to reality begins to shift. By now, you've glimpsed the astral realms, explored the layers of the subconscious, met teachers in your dreams, perhaps even seen your own fears transformed into guides. But we haven't yet touched one of the most profound and mysterious aspects of the dream experience: the ability to perceive time differently. And in some cases, to perceive events before they happen. Yes, we're talking about precognitive dreams, those uncanny moments when you dream of something days, weeks, or even years before it becomes real. Many dismiss these dreams as coincidence. But the stories are too frequent, too detailed, and too specific to be explained away so easily. People have dreamt of plane crashes that happened the next day, of conversations that hadn't yet occurred, of people they'd never met, only to meet them later. And in some of the most documented cases, dreamers have even seen their own death before it arrived. How can this be? To understand this, we need to let go of the idea that time is linear. That past, present, and future are fixed points along a straight line, because in the realm of consciousness, and especially in dreams, time doesn't behave that way. It bends, it loops, it layers. Modern physics backs this up. Theoretical models of time suggest that the future and past may exist simultaneously as a sort of block universe. In quantum mechanics, the observer can influence the outcome of an experiment after it has already begun. Physicist John Wheeler even proposed that the present could retroactively affect the past. And if that's true at a quantum level, what might that mean for the human mind when freed from the body during sleep? Some researchers believe that in certain altered states, like deep REM sleep or astral travel, consciousness is no longer tethered to linear perception. It can touch threads of what we call the future, not in a deterministic way, but as a glimpse into possibility, a probability wave that has not yet collapsed. This might be why precognitive dreams often feel so vivid, so emotionally charged. They're not just fantasies, they're energetic previews. The subconscious receives them, packages them in symbols, and delivers them to you in the only language it speaks: image, emotion, story. And yet, most people forget them by morning. Why? Because we've never been taught to listen. We wake up, rush into the day, and the dream evaporates like mist. But if you begin recording your dreams, even just fragments, you may start to see the patterns. You may remember a detail weeks later that suddenly clicks, and you'll realize, this dream knew something my waking mind didn't. One of the most famous examples of this is Abraham Lincoln. Days before his assassination, he told a close friend about a vivid dream. In it, he walked through the White House and came upon a funeral. When he asked who had died, a soldier replied, "The president." That wasn't just metaphor. That was a window into what was coming. Another example comes from multiple survivors of the Titanic who reported dreams of a ship sinking in icy waters before they ever boarded. Some changed their plans. Others ignored the dream and met their fate. Are these warnings, messages from the universe, or echoes from a higher part of the self? Perhaps all three. Because in dreams, we are not isolated. We are connected to each other, to the greater field of intelligence that surrounds us, and to the timeless truth of who we really are. Carl Jung called this synchronicity, a meaningful coincidence that reveals a hidden order behind events. He believed dreams were not just psychological echoes, but expressions of the soul's dialogue with the universe. And when dreams show us the future, they do so not to frighten us, but to prepare us, to align us, to remind us that we are more than just passengers of fate. So how do we distinguish a true precognitive dream from an ordinary one? There are signs. These dreams tend to be extremely vivid. You may wake up with your heart pounding, the images still sharp, the emotions intense. They often come with a sense of certainty, a feeling that what you saw wasn't symbolic, but literal. Many people describe a deep knowing. This wasn't just a dream. This was real. And the more you pay attention, the clearer they become. But dreams aren't just about the future. They're also about the soul, about memory, about meaning. Dreams carry messages from the subconscious, yes, but also from what many call the higher self, the part of you that sees the whole picture. That's why symbols in dreams matter. A house might not be just a house. It could represent your inner life. A storm might not just be weather. It might reflect emotional turbulence. A locked door may point to something within you that you're afraid to face. And the beauty is, your dreams speak your language. No dream dictionary can tell you with certainty what a symbol means. Only you can decipher it. That's why dream journaling is so powerful. Over time, you begin to learn your own symbology. You'll see how certain images repeat when you're anxious or joyful or on the brink of transformation. And every now and then, a dream comes along that doesn't just reflect your inner world. It expands it. Some people describe dreams where they float in pure light, where they dissolve into peace, where they speak with beings who radiate nothing but love. And when they wake, they're changed. Not just in mood, but in perspective. It's as if something ancient within them has been touched. These are not ordinary dreams. These are soul encounters. They may come in times of grief, when we are most open, or during transitions. Birth, death, loss, awakening. They may come as a form of healing, or as a glimpse of what lies beyond. Some believe these are visits from loved ones. Others believe they are connections to our eternal self, reminding us that we are never alone. And then there are dreams that feel like missions. Assignments. You find yourself in a classroom, learning things you've never heard. Or in a strange land, helping others. You wake up tired, but with a sense of purpose, as if your soul had work to do while your body rested. These may not be dreams in the traditional sense. They may be what some call nocturnal initiations. Spiritual tasks carried out in other dimensions, preparing you for something in this life. This is why sleep is sacred. It's not a shutdown. It's a shift, a crossing over into a realm where your soul is free to explore, to learn, to heal, to remember. And this leads us to one of the most overlooked teachings of all, the connection between sleep and death. In nearly every spiritual tradition, sleep is seen as a rehearsal for death, a temporary release of the soul from the body, a nightly reminder that we are not this flesh. We are the awareness behind it. The Tibetans, for instance, teach that mastering lucidity in dreams prepares the soul for lucidity in the afterlife. That when the final sleep comes, those who've practiced awareness will walk into the next world with clarity, not fear. And maybe that's the most powerful gift of all, the reminder that you are not just a collection of memories and desires. You are consciousness, eternal, ever curious, always becoming. So tonight, as you prepare to lay down, don't see it as the end of your day. See it as a return, a journey inward, backward, forward, and beyond. Speak to your deeper self. Ask it to show you what you need. Ask for guidance, for clarity, for peace. And when you dream, dream wide. Dream as the soul dreams. Because whether you're floating through starlit skies, facing forgotten shadows, standing in a temple of light, or whispering with a loved one who's passed, know this: you are never just asleep. You are in motion. You are in mystery. You are remembering who you really are,